Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another episode of Walkthrough Wednesday. Now, it is the demo drop part 2. In case you don't know what this is, basically a few weeks ago I put out on Patreon for my Patreon squad a post where you could post your music in the comments, and I would select one song from each person and give like detailed feedback, well as detailed as I can with the time given. The first one was really good. You guys said it really helped you out, even if it wasn't your music involved. It was nice to see what I think of tracks. Someone did say in the comments to get rid of all of these, so hopefully I'll remember to get rid of the URLs so your guys' music doesn't get stolen. So let's jump straight in, because I want to get this done in less than 45 minutes if possible, because as always it takes so long to edit it. So let's jump into Thang Fong with ID. Now, I will say the drop is quite unique. I think you used to hear this style like a lot, like years and years ago, but now you don't hear this much, so it is something a little bit different, which I respect. There's just, in my opinion, the only problems you've got is some of your leads and stuff like that. Your percussion is clashing with the lows. You have a really nice basic dynamics going on. You can see with the waveform everything is right. You can see where the drop is, you can see where the build-up is, you can see where the breakdown is. The only thing is you've got a lot of things clashing right now, like that kind of lead. You need to get way more low end out of that lead, and also you can boost the highs a little bit. Give it some saturation with Fab Filter maybe, just to give it a little bit more presence and character, because right now it just feels really back in the mix almost. It just doesn't really stand out, and it is your lead, so it needs to stand out and have presence. I will say this break melody is sick, man, really fucking good. But you are having the same problems here, I think. Your leads are very, very filled with lows, basically. They're very, what's the word? Dirty, I would say. They're not clean right now, and that's because you've just left too much low end in. I would dip out some of the low mids as well, just to give you that extra cleanness. You can hear in this bit a lot of mud as well. It's just the same throughout the track. Just make sure you're taking the EQ and just dipping out all of the low end that you don't need. But energy wise, I think this track has a lot of energy, breakdowns, build-ups. Yeah, everything just feels really bassy and like low. And the only thing that should carry any low frequencies really is your sub bass in the breakdown and in the drop. So just be careful of that. I think the idea is really sick. If you can just nail the mix down, I think it'll be a great track. And you obviously have good experience at making this stuff. So keep at it, bro. The next one is from Highlanders, Idea 2020 March. Hopefully I hide the URL links quick enough before you guys steal them. Apologies for it being shit. Wow, I respect it. I really love the idea and the direction this one's going. I think with the pluck you can do a lot more with the reverb, because it's just it's very simple melody wise. You really need to try and push the boundaries with the effects and stuff. So I would have a really wet reverb with a crazy pre-delay, so it's so it's really clean, but then the reverb comes in after, and it'll also sound really nice if you sidechain it as well, so it'll fit really well with the offbeat bass. The kick itself, I like the low end, but I think it could be a little bit lower. I don't know what key this is in, but maybe I would try drop the track like to a lower key, so you can get that really low deep sub that you hear in the hard style tracks, the reverse bass style tracks. I love that mid bass though. That's really sick. It sounds like like a psytrance almost. I really respect that. I would try maybe just use a little bit of blood overdrive on it, just so it gives it even more body and like really fills up the mids, the mid presence. So the hi-hats, what I like to do is slap a sound goodizer on it. Literally the first preset, maybe reduce it a little bit, but the sound goodizer or OTT will help your hats really push through and be really clearly heard. Do you know what? I don't mind the breakdowns though. I think it creates a vibe, doesn't it? I think overall this one's going to be really sick. I would love to hear this one when it's finished, so shoot it over to me when it's done. Next one is Eves V, Not So Bad, with the E-Shark remix. So melody wise this one's good, right? I think the sub bass is causing quite a lot of problems for me. This sub bass sounds just really odd. It seems like it's carrying a lot of bass but literally no sub. What I would do is don't boost as much bass frequency that you have. I would boost only the sub and really take an EQ and just cut everything but the sub. And then I would add a different bass line on top of this, like a mid bass almost, or reese bass or something like that, and that way it will just sound a lot more natural and a lot more, it'll fill the spectrum a lot more, because right now I can hear a lot of bass, not enough sub. I like this like violin or string or whatever it is. I think that's really cool. It could just be a little bit more at the front of the mix, so a little bit louder, a little bit more high-end frequencies, and it'll just pop out a lot more. You could have some like little ear candy stuff in here as well. If you listen to the guys that produce house music, like, you know, the current style of house music, you know, Joyride, people like that, if you listen to the actual little fills, these are like big things to help your track sound like okay, but like next level, you know. That's where it comes from, all these like intricate sounds, and you can find them so easy on Splice. You just want to be looking at like trap packs. Even there's a lot of trap packs on Splice, and you can literally take these like wobbles and dubstep wobbles, these percussion sounds, and just take a lot, drag them all into your project. This is what I like to do, go in Splice, drag all these samples in to the project, and just see which ones sound good within the project over the top of your drop while you're playing it. And I think that'll really help flesh this track out a little bit more. Great work on that one, so please don't look at the links. This one is Never Stop the Rave. This is my unreleased track, trying to make a hard big room track with 2 different drops. The second one uses hardstyle sounds, change the tempo. I'm excited for this one then. So this kick is really fresh. It's an old style kick, but done very well. You know, it's not a boom boom. It's really cut off at the end, so it's boom boom boom. It's really a lot shorter than a usual big room kick. See how it's like it dips off at the end there? I think that's really sick. I think it's cool that you've done 2 leads. I understand that. But when this bar comes in, it kind of loses the melody almost. You know, I can get the first part. It feels like it should just be the same lead almost. Like changing leads when you're going to do a complicated second call and response melody like that, it just kind of loses the listener, in my opinion. I think the actual pluck sound, this pluck sound's really cool. I can see where you've been inspired by this one from the rave culture stuff. But if you listen to what they're releasing right now, the second pluck is super clean. This one has a lot of saw leads on top of it, from what I can hear, and I think you should just try and take that pluck by itself and just boost the shit out of it so it can be the main lead, you know. And I think it'll just make the whole track sound a lot cleaner if you are going to use two leads. For example, this pluck in the break has a lot of high end and it really does pop out, you know? So build up, I think, is really strong. This drop is actually, I like it, man. I do like it. There's just a sound in here that's just in a different key to the rest of the track, and it really puts me off. It's the first stab, I think. That's like duh, but it should be duh. So I would just take it down a few semitones so that it becomes in key with the drop. Maybe you left the pitch on here. I don't know, but this second drop's really cool. Yeah, I really love the second drop. The second drop's my favourite. I think it's a good idea, and another one I'm curious to see how it turns out if you haven't already released it. This one is MJ31 with Tricky 2023, Tricky 2 Nation, 39 only, Tricky 7 Master. That's a really catchy song name. Oof. It's a good start. So this idea-wise is really cool. I think the kick is great. Could have a little bit more sub in it. I think there should be a little bit more like fat. The lead you've used, the first lead, I just don't like it. I think what I would do is use the tricky lead in the whole drop, not just this part. I would have it in from the beginning. This. It would be this part here, but you've used the different leads. Now it's cool to try and put your own stamp on it, but I don't think this lead is clean enough. Like, you can't really hear the notes. It's just a little bit too. The lead itself, it's unique, man. I will give you that, but I think you're just missing a trick here if you don't use the original full melody and maybe do your own second drop. yeah, maybe the second drop you use your own drop lead, this one, the first one, but just make your own drop pattern with it here. The reason why most remixes do so well is because they take basically the main elements from the original track. You hear that a lot with the most successful remixes, and I think that means it's going to be more likely to be played. You know, a DJ is more likely to play it if you're going to use the original sound in the drop, basically. But overall, it's a really good remix. I think you've got a solid mix down here. I'm sure this works really well live. I actually love how stereo the mid bass is. It's really fresh. So great work on this one. Yeah, send me this also. I'm curious to see. This one is Z Magic's Bassline Fire. I think you're missing a sub bass in here. I always have a sub bass in my build up. I've said this a million times. It just keeps the energy there, and you can also pitch it up. It adds a much sicker effect than any riser can do. Love the effect pre-drop though. I love this effect here. I think it's similar to the one I do myself. This is kind of the style that I used to make. It's really powerful. Not much melodic appeal. You know, it's not a melody that people really want to sing back, but it's got that power. I think your lead choice is really cool. It's different. Kick's really powerful as well. And the sub bass is really nice and warm. Like, it's in the perfect position for me. So I think overall you've got a very good mix down. I can tell you're quite experienced with this. So you've got this bass, mid bass going dun dun, then it just goes away. I would keep it going dun 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 dun. So you constantly got this movement and the danceability to it. You see how it's just gone there? I think you should carry on within there. Now with the trap part, you need a big snare. Like with the trap, the rhythm is actually dictated by the snare. If you don't have a snare, it's just boom. You can't really, like, that's why people headbang, right? Because of that snare. They headbang on the snare, so you have to have a really big snare in here. Just there like that, and that'll finish that up. I think that's a great track as well. This is Shake That Booty, S. Larson.
Let's go. Booty.
Great name.
Your booty. Shake your booty. Shake your booty. Shake.
I think it's a bit cheesy, the melody. The vocal itself. I'm curious to see the drop. If it's a cheesy drop, then you know that's the style, you know. But if it's a cool drop, like try to be doing house or something like that, with this I don't think it would work. But I'm guessing it's Melbourne bounce.
Your booty. Let's go insane. Let's go insane.
The lead is very odd. I think it's a really old style lead, which again I say this a lot. These old style leads can come back in fashion. I think this is the whole idea is cool. It's a cheesy track, you know, not in a bad way. It's just that's the sound it is. You know, like Chainsmoke, Selfie, that kind of thing. So I think the overall track idea works.
Shake your booty. Shake your booty.
I love them offbeat actually. I think it's really nice. There's not much I can say mix wise, you know. I think I would just try and boost a little bit the highs on the lead so you have that the lead pop out just as much as possible, but make sure you don't make it too screechy or piercing. Yeah, I think the vocals just so cheesy. I would add like a vocoder layer to it, so it's got like a bassy layer to it as well, just to make it a little bit more EDM sounding and club sounding. But I respect the idea. There's not many people using this style nowadays, so I respect it. Unfortunately, back on track, there's a few actually I can see. I copy and pasted them all, and I can see a few of you guys have either removed the track or you haven't done the link properly. What you're supposed to do is another one. You have to click share here, and then it'll give you a link, a private link, so only you or me can see that link. And yeah, just send this to my Patreon inbox, and I will give you feedback on these two tracks. Paznamic as well. Sorry you guys couldn't get your tracks shown. This one is AMT Testing Master. So I have heard this track before. He sent me it for feedback. Now the whole idea is really cool in this one. Like, it's a very unique lead, but I'm hearing, for me the problem is it's not bouncy enough, right? It's just it's flat energy wise. There's not much sidechain, it doesn't have much of a pump. What I would do is do a lot of volume automation. I'd constantly be dipping out the volume, so full volume, dip out, draw the automation back, so it's constantly so it's constantly coming away and coming back. I would have a lot more reverb play with this, so automate the reverb up and down at different points. That sounds really cool when it's super reverb, suddenly silence, then it comes back again. I would just try and play with that, just try some weird stuff with it. You're getting a little bit of mud on the stabs, the wob stabs. I would take all the low end out of that. It just, you probably took it out already, but take some more out because it is clashing. Also sidechain it a little bit harder. Now you can get a little bit more rhythm and energy by adding a clap in. I can guarantee you're about to add the clap on the 2 and the 4, but yeah, so you add it in here. I would add it in at the start, not the hi-hats and stuff, just the clap, and I think that'll just make it a lot more dancey and groovable. So yeah, I think this kills the energy also, and then no kick. I would just do it like the first one. I think we're all guilty of that sometimes, trying to make the most unique things. But when I've done it in the past, and then I go to play the song, and then it just doesn't work on the dance floor. Like, people expect their drop and it doesn't come. So from my experience, I think just make the first drop like the second drop like the first. Yeah, I would just try some volume automations and different automations and stuff for that lead, just to get a little bit more pumpy. I would listen to tracks like Swag and Tiesto. Is it Party Time? I think it's that one. That's a great reference track. You know, you if you just drag it into your DAW, put it underneath yours, and just listen to the differences. Of course, you're never going to get it to that power, I imagine. But don't worry about that. Just try and base the mixing off that. I know your track's completely different, so don't compare it too much sound wise, but the actual pump and the power of the track should help you out. So this is Mojack with ID. This is a cool track, it's different. I think the break vocal, I've heard it a lot, but you've used it quite well. The melody fits it really well. Like this part I think is really cool. I would have some claps in there. You already have them actually, but I'd have them in the start as well. Yeah, this is actually really nice. I like it, man. Try and use some OTT on the hi-hat so they can pop out more. Maybe a little riser in there as well, playing just playing the notes, but all in one straight line. Pitch it up. I'll tell you what, I know you said you didn't have any idea how to make the second drop different. What you've done actually works out. I think this is nice. I think that drum's sick. I know it's a sample from something, but that's really nice, that drum sound. I would keep it like this. It's really cool track. Feels a little bit quiet, so I'm curious to see if you're going to master this or not. But yeah, I'm curious to see how this one works out as well. This is I would use like Tom and James' new stuff as a reference for the mixing. Just as I said before, drag it in and just reference between the two tracks. I do that myself. If I'm making a new style, for example, I find the most popular track within that style, and I'll just try and mimic, like, with the best of my knowledge, how to get it as similar as possible power wise. So great work on that one, man. This is Ambrose with Seismic. Oof, sorry about your ears. This one has been mastered, I can tell you. Really nice melody, man. This is mad energy wise. I didn't expect that with the drop. Like the notes seem slightly off grid, but it really works, man. It sounds really tight and like really bouncy, you know. I think that's really key nowadays. Big Room in the past it was but now it's like really bouncy if you hear the rave culture stuff. So yeah, this is really fresh. I think the break is like really strong, man. Big fan of that. The lead's actually cool as well. I think what you're missing here is a mid bass on the offbeat. But what I would do is use Kickstart, if you use Kickstart, hopefully, and use the sub bass preset. And then I would just draw one big long 9 with a mid bass, like a gritty sound, and then it's going to make it really nice and smooth on the offbeat for you. So that'll complete that. I think that's all that's missing here. I think these claps on the tune, I think these house claps just kill the energy in this one. I would just leave those out, in my opinion. I love the doubled up kicks. I think that's really cool as well. Yeah, I'm really impressed with this one. I really like the overall vibe of it. And yeah, if it's finished, please send it. I'm curious to see what it sounds like at the final product. This is Drop That Whip demo. Ollie James. Hello Ollie, this one could be a heavy hitter. Just need to add some ear candy, mix and master it. Thought I could use your feedback to make the track better. Okay, let's check it out, man. So what you have is a great mid bass that the last track didn't have, but the last track had a more powerful lead. I think that the last track, just skip the video back and listen back to it and try and get your lead to be of that kind of power. Your lead melody is really nice, but the lead feels a bit thin. My leads sound like this before I use distortion on them, basically. Distortion is what kind of powers them and gives that power and body to it. I use amp distortion with Blood Overdrive, and before, if I just drag a lead in, that's how it sounds usually. I would just try and boost it as well, try and get some fab filter in there as well, just get some saturation, just try all those things to really boost the sound as much as possible. Cool break. I like the bass itself, right? But you've got it playing the notes, so dun 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 dun. I would just have one long note, boom, just like this. That's going to give you more energy, I think, because it's going to be a lot more full low end wise, rather than just these little stabby bass sounds. I would use just a long note. So this confuses me a little bit. I think that I was really thinking, yeah, this is cool, it's going to be a 30-second build-up. But what you've done is you've made a build-up, stopped the build-up, started a new build-up. To me, this sounds like a build-up, because you've got drums in there. Then the energy just disappears, and it starts into another build-up. So keep this energy, keep all the elements you've got here in this part. So the 8 bars which come up, add that drum in. So keep everything you've got in this part, right? But just add this drum to it. So that's the only change that happens here. And then pitch up the leads or something, because right now you just kill all that energy and then try to bring it back up again. I respect the samples that I can hear in there. Now, this is a really good track, man. Just what I said before. A lot of people, if you're not actually playing EDM shows, you don't really understand how important these things are. You know, I'm the same. You know, if I make a track and then play a show in the next few weeks and test it, sometimes things just don't work. But over the years, I've picked up that certain things do work and certain things don't. And this, like, teasing a build-up, then giving another build-up, just kills the energy, especially when you're playing, like, nowadays, you're mixing, like, a song every minute, 2 minutes, so, yeah, killing the energy like that, it's not a great move, but I respect the overall idea of the track, and, yeah, good luck with this one, bro. This one is Headhunter's Dragonborn. Even though I said no Google Drive, I'll let you off, because, I'm nice like that. This one is the Dragonborn. Oh no! Do you know what? This is why I fucking hate Google Drive. So I'm gonna have to download this if it lets me. So in future, if any of you guys send me a Google Drive, I will block you from ever being a part of this account. because I absolutely hate Google Drive. So see if I can just put the volume of this down.
Unto her own blood. Dragonborn.
So I'm curious, like, what did you do to this song? Actually, what I'm going to do is go, because I don't want to give feedback on it if you haven't done certain things, you know. I don't want to give feedback on a Headhunters song because that's impossible. It's already a masterpiece, right? So I'm going to go and check out the original track so I can compare it. So I went and checked it out. If you guys haven't heard the song before, I would suggest that you go and check it out yourself. I don't want to get sued for copyright here. So what you've done is kept the same melody, obviously, and just give your own sound. So I was going to say these sounds are really nice. This lead, it's got a really nice like crisp to it. It's got a character, and I think that's really sick. It sounds dope, right? Production-wise, this is really top, right? You've got it really close to his. But from a remix, I know it's an edit, but from a remix point of view, it's just the same track as Headhunters, but with different production on it. What I would do is do it reverse bass. So this, you know how melodic reverse bass, you know, Darren Styles, things like that. That's how I would do this, so that it's at least a little bit different from Headhunters, so it stands out and it's more like a remix, you know. Because you're obviously a good producer to be able to get it this close. To produce something as good. So I would just try and like do a reverse bass, and there's loads of reverse bass samples out there in different keys, so it's easier to do than what you probably first think. But I think I would do that, so then it just becomes something a little bit different, because I don't know when this track was released, 3 years ago. See, it's, yeah, I mean, it is kind of long in the EDM world, so, but I think, yeah, I'll try reverse bass, and I think it could be cool. But great work on that one. I'm impressed with the sound design and stuff. And the final one is, yeah, I believe, yeah, it's not found. This was Kaiser. That's 3 of you guys have not given the right links. So what you have to do is click share, and then there will be a private share link here, and you copy that and then send it for future. Maybe just send me it in a private DM on Patreon, and I'll get you guys the feedback you deserve, because I feel bad for you all who did that. But yeah, just under 40 minutes. That was a lot of fun again. Since the whole world's locked down still, probably, yeah, by the time you're watching this, it's actually Tuesday now, so tomorrow you'll see this. I'll probably try and do some live streams and stuff, if that'll help you guys out, because I'm also bored as well as you guys. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.